at home watching from your fabulous television and wonderful internet, thank you for joining the regular board meeting for the Pontiac School District. Those who are here in the audience, thank you so much for being here with us this evening. Trustees, administration, please, if you may, cut off all cell phones, put them on silence. I appreciate it. Thank you before the meeting. And Madam Secretary, if you could take roll call, appreciate you.
All right. Trustee Bowman.
Present.
Trustee Kraft.
Present.
Trustee Davis Smith.
Present.
President Garrett.
Present.
VP Gross.
Present.
I am here. And Treasurer Terry.
Present.
All right,
So
thank
we
you.
have a quorum.
All right, thank you.
You just looking right at her. Oh, they got a party first. You're right. I forgot. It does this in a long time.
We can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It is great to know young men and women who still want to participate in ROTC and also linger and have the thought of serving our country. And so thank those young people for coming in and the instructor for allowing them to post colors before the saying of the Pledge of Allegiance. So thank you again. We're going to move to approval of the agenda. Need a motion, please.
So move. Support.
So moved by Trustee Bowman, supported by Trustee Davis Smith. Questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Trustee Kraft.
Yes.
Trustee Davis Smith.
Yes.
President Garrett.
Yes.
VP Gross.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Treasurer Terry.
Yes.
And Trustee Bowman.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. We're going to move down to awards and recognitions. We don't have any at this particular point in time. Recognitions of elected officials. Any elected officials in the audience? Okay. I don't see any, but I do have 6 trustees on the dais. Good evening, trustees. How y'all doing?
Good evening, Mr.
It
President.
is so good seeing y'all to be with y'all this evening. We're going to move down to a consent agenda. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Davis Smith.
Yes.
President Garrett.
Yes.
VP Gross.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Treasurer Terry.
Yes.
Trustee Bowman.
Yes.
And Trustee Kraft.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
All right. Thank you. We're going to move down to superintendent's report. If you could be so kind in your prayers and also in your thoughts, keep the superintendent dear and near to your thoughts. She is doing well in her recovery, but she is well missed from this particular meeting. And so just thank y'all so much for keeping y'all in her prayers and keeping her in your prayers and in your thoughts. We're going to move down to the regular working agenda. We don't have anything at this time under the board, and move down to finance items. Monthly financial report presentation will come from the finance department. Ms. Kellum, the meeting is yours.
Thank you. I'll defer to Pete.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Okay, here we have our monthly financial presentation for November.
December.
Oh, no, that's okay. I think I messed it up before in our committee meeting. Sorry, Ms. Wright. That's okay. But if you want to continue, if you have because we do have the hard copy
Okay,
and a digital copy. As that's going, we'll.
let me just give her didn't know.
Okay. Well, security is asking for her passcode. You can continue. That's gonna be a minute. She got. Miss Wright keep things tighter than Don Knox around here, Jack. You think my? They call her desktop, cell phone.
Braille, everything.
It wasn't a suggestion.
Okay, Mr. P, continue.
There we go. Okay.
Yes.
Let's start with the cash flow in the general fund. So the beginning cash investments, 48.5 million at the start of the month. The ending cash, 47.6 million. So not much activity. There was some state aid that we collected that we started collecting in October. So we have about 2.4 million in November. But otherwise, not much activity and overall a healthy cash position for the general fund. Our next slide is our cash flow chart with or without the tax anticipation note, which was $11 million in fiscal year 23 and 8.5 million in the current year. So the key takeaway here is, again, the purple bar for both the top and the bottom portion is higher than all the other bars, which is good, meaning our cash flow is trending upward and we're in a good cash position. The green bar, which is prior year, is also above the other bars from previous years. And again, the interesting takeaway is if you look at the bottom portion of the chart, even without the tan, we'd be in a positive cash flow position with the exception of the first 2 months of the first 2 years. So good signs all the way around. Again, our goal is to wean ourselves off of the tan and all the other general fund debt, which we have started with the emergency loans. We have a smaller amount for an old energy bond left, but that's winding down. So our goal is to eliminate general fund debt. Next, we have our general fund revenue, 2 pie charts. The pie chart on the left is July through November of 23. The pie chart on the right is November 23 only. So in terms of revenue, the blue shade is our property taxes that we're still collecting post-September. The red portion is state aid, and the green, which is the biggest, is federal grant reimbursement. So we're getting caught up on that for ESSER's funds. So that's good that we're filling our coffers with that. And on the left, which is year to date, again, the biggest chunk right now is still going to be property taxes since we're a summer tax collection district. That orange piece right there, we talked about last meeting. That's the $9.1 million electric grant bus proceeds that represents that. But otherwise, in terms of general fund revenue, the composition is reasonable compared to what we'd expect this time of the year.
Okay.
So expenditures, again, 2 pie charts. Pie chart on the left is fiscal year to date. Pie chart on the right is November only. So as expected, on the right, the blue shade, which is instruction costs, which is your teacher salaries and benefits and classroom supplies, purchase services. That's going to be the biggest part of your expenditures. That's to be expected. Year to date, on the left, the only interesting feature there is the orange piece, 38%. That's the payoff of the tax anticipation note of $8.5 million, which we're glad to get out of the way early in the year. But otherwise, the composition of the general fund expenditures is reasonable compared to what we expect this time of the year. So general fund budget to actual, the current budget, which is what we adopted back in May, showing a small surplus of $239,000. Again, that'll be adjusted in January 22nd with our first budget amendment. So we'll have that ready. Our beginning fund balance, $18 million. That's post-audit. So that's a 19.9% fund balance that we talked about, which is a good way to go into our post-ESSER's world with the cushion that we'll need to make some decisions. In terms of compared to prior year, pretty consistent. Our local taxes, 87% versus 89%. Other financing sources modifications, that's the only big fluctuation there because of the $9.1 million of electric bus grant revenues. Expenditures running slightly less than last year, which is good, but that's usually due to timing of grant expenditures and supplies and things like that. But otherwise, no significant variations compared to the prior year. Food Service Fund. So we adopted a budget back in May of $30,000 as a surplus. Now we need to do much better than that because our beginning fund balance is only $25,000. That's after the $360,000 net loss we had last year. The good news, if you look in column 2, is our revenues are trending far better than our expenditures by about $167,000. The expectation is we'll continue to build on that net income and kind of right size everything where we've made some improvements with meal counts, students receiving meals, employee attendance, things like that. But there's work to be done. We're still working with SFE to right size operations and make everything more efficient and functional. So our sinking fund beginning cash investments at the start of the month, $10.2 million. At the end, $10.1 million. So a very minimal activity. Some residual property tax revenues and continued expenditures for the science labs, the middle school and the high school, but overall healthy cash position.
How long? I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
No, I'll wait.
Okay, so this here, we've condensed, this is our bond summary. So what we did for this board meeting is condense instead of having series 1 and 2 and 3 all chopped up. So we've got everything on the same chart here, the first 3 series, and then the sinking fund, and then the ESSER's monies. So the first line under revenues, bond proceeds, $147 million. That's our total bond issuance that we had back in 2020. The first series was $104 million, second series, $25 million, and the third series yet to be issued is $18 million. The next row is a sinking fund that we're contributing to the bond. It's $11.5 million. And then the ESSER's money that we've talked about is $12.5 million. Interest income is a kind of a bonus. We didn't expect that to start back in 2020 with interest rates getting higher. We're at $1.8 million. So that's a nice bonus to have. Total revenues brings us to $174 million. Now, if we look at the expenditure side, we're looking at expenditures budgeted for $186 million, which is what we've had in the past here in the past few months in terms of our projections. That includes $8.4 million of contingencies built into that. We do have a shortfall, again, budgeted of $12 million, which is consistent for the last few months. And again, there will be interventions, right sizing, adjustments made to the projects as we need to get within budget. But that's pretty much where we're at in terms of the bond.
Quick question. So this particular format, how you kind of spelled it out here, was this your first month doing this one?
Pardon
Is
me?
this your first month?
We did this at the board retreat. This
We
was
did? Okay.
Yeah.
So so this is very simple. So total revenue for bond project was $174 million.
Yep.
Total expenditures, what we're looking at the end of the bond or projects, however, $186 million.
Yep.
The original bond itself was $148 million.
147, yeah.
$147 million. Okay, thank you. Easy read.
Okay, and then finally, other information, our TAN resolution to be presented at the January 22nd meeting, and the budget amendment 1 also at that meeting will be presented. Emergency purchases that do not require board approval, there were none. So that concludes my presentation, so I'll invite any questions at this point.
Okay. Any questions from the board at this time? Okay. I had one, well, necessarily not a one question, but the debt forgiveness that the governor signed, and the VP had brought this up, and I appreciate him bringing it up for, that was a $600,000 a year payment, correct?
Yeah, principal interest, yeah.
Principal interest. So that would help us, that saved do you know just offhand how much that saved the taxpayers when she made that relief?
Well, it's basically the $600,000.
Basically $600,000 a year or $600,000?
No, a year.
A year. So that would have been what, over the 10-year period? I think.
Yeah, approximately.
10, 11 year period.
Yep.
Okay. So that would have saved roughly
$6 million.
$6 million. that one swipe of the pen saved the taxpayers $6 million.
Yeah, I get
Okay.
the exact number, but that's yeah,
Okay.
ballpark.
All right. I just publicly wanted to say that, and thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for the presentation. Okay. What is that, sorry? Okay. Ms. Kellum,
Thank you.
bond presentation.
I'll defer to Pete. Bond presentation of Mr. England.
Good evening.
Thanks for bringing that back up.
All right, there's the slides. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
So, looking at the slides for today's update for December. So if we look at the first slide, it goes back to our placemat that gives the delivery dates. The second one is also for future projects. Next slide. Going to the update on the next slide, which is bid pack 13 kitchen. This is actually last week, Tuesday. Looks completely different. The picture on the left already has the kitchen equipment already installed. The ceiling tile has already been installed and inspected and complete. The picture on the right, the drywall you can see is not installed. That's already installed. All the in-wall electrical and plumbing's installed. The drywall is already sanded, finished, and painted, and the equipment's already being, some of that equipment's already in place as well. I think the sinks are going in with that compartment sink tomorrow. So looks completely different than that picture on the right, as well as the left. Also more of the kitchen. That's the one on the left is actually one of your, I think that's your cooler. You can still see the white film on it. Those are operational. So you have a freezer and cooler. That's the doors that lead to receiving. The picture on the right, all that equipment is in progress. They were hooking up the combi ovens today, finishing those tomorrow. And we have inspections in there, I believe, on the the second and the 5th are the inspections by the health department. So we can get those operational and used by the 8th. That's the serving area, completely different as well. As the walls already have the base on them. Pictures on the right, the walls are already painted, all the equipment and all the tops are on there. So they have their trays. You could already see how they're going to function with the cafeteria flow in the serving area. Ceiling tiles dropped. So that looks completely different now from less than a week.
So is that hardwood floors, or is that like
That's-
the vinyl?
That's the LVT, which is luxurious vinyl tile. That's just the same as the hallway, just a different color. Gives it a wood finish. They did install, the architect designed a pattern where you see the other color just randomly designed throughout that space.
Okay.
And that's more of the same. Cafeteria, I think there's just maybe one pallet in there. All the ceiling tiles dropped. Just really ready for final cleanup prior to the inspector. Those are the toilet rooms, turning more over. That's some of the functional toilet rooms in the space, all remodeled. New tile, new floors, new partitions, new sinks. Looks very similar to the middle school. Very nice space. That's your weight room. That is 99% complete. It is functional, just waiting on the mirrors. There was a delay in the mirrors, but the space is occupiable. I believe the mirrors are on the 26th, pending if the building is open that day, but they're scheduled for next week, the 26th, to install the mirrors, and then that's the last of the items in that space. More of the weight room, so big turnover, looks great. That red stripe in there will be covered by mirrors, so. This is our timeline that we gave over a year ago for the spaces, still holding with that. And the next one's just talking about doors and windows, which where we are with procurement is in progress. I know the project's on hold, but all of that is, the procurement's in progress and the abatement coordination with Rob and John Stoner is in progress. And those are the pending abatement dates, but I know the project is on hold. As well as 3235, we did the pre-purchase of mechanical electrical equipment. A lot of that equipment is already arriving and is sitting at FEL, as well as 3336 is on the fire alarm equipment. There's our contingency update. With where we are with contingency, I know that was in the last report as well. And that's our update for this year, this end of this year. So,
Sweet. Okay. Any comments from the board? Questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Trustee Gross.
Thank you. Good evening.
good evening.
Don't want. I had the opportunity to go over to the high school last week. We were having a pinning ceremony. Initially, the thought was the auditorium, but because there were some things being done, I don't know if it was being painted. I saw some guys there working.
Mhm.
And my question is, has that been completed, and is the auditorium complete?
The auditorium, I know we're waiting for a couple doors. If you see, those are temporary doors for the entrance of that.
Yes, I saw that.
But on the construction side, I believe that is complete.
Everything
Yes.
inside is done.
Mhm.
So they were doing some painting or something. We couldn't go there because of the fumes. We're good now. So
Okay,
let's
I
say
wasn't
we-
aware of that. Okay.
Yeah.
I know that we have painters there. That is correct. And it is, that is a latex paint that should not be an issue.
Yeah, that was on the. You remember the day?
The penny?
Yeah.
So you couldn't go in which space because of the fumes, the
We
cafeteria?
could not utilize the auditorium
Oh,
because of the area they were working in. That was, they ended up having it in the gym.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
Okay, I'm just asking because, the gym was fine too.
Mhm.
That's just as beautiful.
Yeah.
But the auditorium would have been something different for the parents to see, and I'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was something that we talked to some guys that were in the hall, and they didn't know where, what we were talking about. The superintendent and I were there,
Okay.
and they said, and then it was told to us by the principal that some stuff was being done that where they had
Right.
to move it. So,
There were some changes to the paint color at the end of the year, if you recall. Painting was stopped because there was, the color scheme was changing. So there was a bulletin listed by the architect, I'd say about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, that changed the paint colors to the original contract and the doors. So all of that work is on second shift now that it's occupied. So we're continuing to paint every night. We
yeah,
have-
I don't know if it was paint one because I didn't smell any paint. I didn't know something was going on. They were
Okay.
doing something there. There
Okay.
were some workers there working.
Okay.
So they moved it. So I want to make sure everything was good in that area so we can start using it.
Did we know they were doing that event that night? That might have been part of the issue too. I don't think we were aware of the event that night, or we would have coordinated that closely as well.
Yeah, I was surprised because they said auditorium and then they ended up saying the gym, and we were wondering why. But
Yeah.
the workers had no idea. So we just
Yeah.
went over.
If we know of events like that, we definitely would probably stop the work in the area or in the building, period. So
Thank you.
apologize about that.
No problem. No problem. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. President.
Any other questions?
Merry Christmas,
All right, thank
happy
you.
holidays, have a
Merry
blessed
Christmas, happy
new year.
holidays.
Thank
You too.
All right, thank you. We're going to move down to, no, Mr. England. Mr. England. You're still there. There's some patchwork at the gym, in the gymnasium. When is that to be complete on the
Yes.
floor?
That is, we're scheduled to redo that entire floor. As part of the agreement with IDS, they're going to pay for the portion of the floor. That's scheduled for the summertime. What we, normally when you
Where
pull
the,
the,
where the wood
Yes.
has,
when you pull the bleachers out, you normally don't see that.
okay,
And we didn't want to disable the gym so that they couldn't use it. So
Okay.
that was the narrowest window. It's probably going to be a 2-week process. That one will have an oil-based film. It'll be very extensive with fumes. So
Okay.
that was the rationale behind that.
the door that's leading at the bottom of the gymnasium, the
Yeah,
entry level doors, has that framework been complete?
no.
Okay. Why is there a delay?
There's still several doors that we have not installed. There's temporary doors throughout,
Oh.
very similar to what we have at the theater.
Okay. There,
All-
that particular that particular space.
Mhm.
Um, when are we looking to have that complete done?
My understanding is the doors at the athletic end are scheduled for March. That's
Okay.
what the latest update that we've had from Barton and Marlowe. John, I don't know if you know any different. Those are the
Okay.
glazing systems at the athletic where we had the problems with the door handles, that whole area. The doors are still coming.
They're coming, or have they been ordered, or
Yes,
they're
they've been
just not?
ordered. And
So is it back order?
yes.
Are the doors on back order?
Some of the doors are in A11, but all of the doors are not here.
So there's only 4 doors there.
Now there's 4 on the top, 4 on the bottom.
No, the bottom,
Oh,
the 4 doors on the bottom.
I will.
Is
have
that,
to
are
get
they
back
here?
to you
Are they
on
not
that.
here? We don't know if they're here or not.
No, sir.
Okay. All right. If you can get Miss Callum
Yes, sir.
a ring this week so she can let us know.
Absolutely.
Okay. I appreciate about those doors.
What we talking?
Yeah, at the lower
What
level.
we talking?
We good, Miss Callum? Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We're going to move down to summer tax resolution. Mr. Pete, you're a superstar this year, man. They just said, close us on out, huh, money man? Close us on out. Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, the 24-25 summer tax collection resolution. So per state law and the Michigan Court of Appeals, every year the board must affirm its intent to impose a summer property tax levy for the full eligible property tax for the fiscal year. Therefore, the board is being asked to impose a summer tax levy for the fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2024 for 100% eligible property tax and direct the superintendent or designee to negotiate and execute an agreement with local and county agencies as provided in Acts 333 Public Acts of Michigan 1982. This serves as the annual affirmation of the district's intent to request the local taxing authorities to collect 100% of the district's tax levy on the summer tax collection. The recommendation of the administration is that the board adopt the attached resolution to reaffirm 100% summer property tax collection and grant the superintendent or designee authorization to negotiate and execute the intergovernmental agreements required to implement the 2024 summer tax levy collection as presented by the administration.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. We're going to move down to action items. Any questions around the summer tax resolution? Okay. Hearing none, we're going to move down to action item, approval of summer tax resolution. Need a motion on the floor, please.
So moved.
So
Support.
moved by trustee David Smith, supported by trustee Bowman. Questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, roll call, please.
President Garrett,
Yes.
VP Gross.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Treasurer Terry.
Yes.
Trustee Bowman,
Yes.
Trustee Kraft,
Yes.
and Trustee David Smith.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
All right. Thank you. Going to move down to general counsel. I was looking forward to this one. Discussion item, making choices and facing consequences. Attorney Seeger.
Yes, Making Choices and Facing Consequences is a drug education and crime prevention program designed specifically for distressed communities with a youth crime problem. The program is evidence-based and field-tested. It is designed to promote the development of personal self-management skills through decision-making exercises that allow young adults to examine real-life situations and consider the choices and consequences presented by each situation. Teach young adults what constitutes unlawful and risky behavior and how to avoid dangerous and unsafe situations, and to promote responsible citizenship and appropriate behavior standards. Character training is delivered through a set of real-life stories about children and young adults. The characters in the stories come from the same type of neighborhoods, share similar backgrounds, and face the same type of problems, pressures, and temptations as the young adults we are trying to reach. Working through real-life situations helps improve the young adults' decision-making skills. They help develop a what are my choices, what are my consequences approach to decision-making. Young adults can apply these critical thinking skills when they confront these same issues in their lives. The administration is confident that implementing this program will enlighten our students about the consequences of their choices. To kick off the initiative, administration has identified 25 students to participate in the first phase. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Education approve the Making Choices and Facing Consequences program for a not to exceed amount of $50,000. I might add that this program was previously in the district over 10 years ago, before I was here. It was ran by then and is ran by now retired Judge M.T. Thompson from Saginaw and his daughter, Professor Monica Knuckles, who's a professor at Western Michigan University Law School. We're hoping that the program is a success, and it is, yeah. So that's it.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Any questions about this particular program? Okay. Hearing none, we're going to move down to I do have a question about the making choice. So what did you find this particular program at? And how did we identify the students?
How do we identify?
We had 25 students already identified.
So it was Miss Williams, Yvette Williams, who's the MTSS coordinator, along with Miss Dean, essentially identified some of our frequent flyers for the middle school who might be able to benefit from this this program. And how I found out about the program, to be honest with you, I found out about it several years ago. I don't remember how I found out about it, but I remember when I first found out about it, I called them and they said, "Oh, we used to be in Pontiac." And then I started asking people around here, and then, the fact that they had been here and apparently have been successful. And I think the summary report from the previous program is attached in the packet. And we're hoping it's a good program.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Just brief comment. I'm excited about the program as it relates to giving kids an opportunity to make to begin to identify the choices that they do make, right? Because a lot of times, if you're just like adults have a hard time changing, right? So you're in kids are in middle school, high school. We are in spaces where we should do as much as we can to wrap around them before they go into the real world. I tell all my students, you are protected here in the district, right? You don't have the consequences as a true adult a lot of times. So this, when I read about it, and that's why I was, kind of excited about it and having some kids identified for it, is that, like you say, they make some choices, they have some decisions that they need to make, but something like this to kind of put them in a setting where they can learn to identify the mistakes there may be some things that they're not getting in other spaces, right, that they're going to get here. So it's an educational tool that I think will serve our district well. So that's all my comments about that. Thank you. We're going to move down to easement at Failsafe Center for DTE. That's yours as well.
Sure. DTE Electric Company has requested an underground easement onto the district's Fail Center property. The purpose of this right-of-way easement is to construct, reconstruct, modify, add to, repair, replace, inspect, operate, and maintain underground utility line facilities, which may consist of poles, anchors, guys, wires, manholes, conduits, pipes, cables, transformers, and accessories. DTE is asking that the Board of Education grant the attached easement on the Fail Center property for the operation and maintenance thereof. It is a recommendation of administration that the Board of Education approve the attached underground easement on the Fail Center property to DTE Electric Company.
Okay, DTE. Any questions? So granting, let me see how I can answer this, because I don't want them to cut my lights off. Okay, Treasurer Terry, you go first.
I just want
Let them get you first.
I want to be clear. This has nothing to do with the electrical bus install and stuff, does
No,
it? Or
it is not.
so this is
It's
total
regular
separate
electrical
project.
line stuff. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so you're shaking your head no. He's shaking his head yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right, speak now, forever hold your peace.
So I'm sorry.
I help your
So
teammate out.
It is.
Hold on
for
a
the
second.
buses?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Instead of, because we have underground storage tank issues over there from many years ago, we decided to go overhead. So there'll be a feed coming in from the old GM plant side, coming into the FAL, directly into the buses.
So they're not going underground.
No, sir. We do not want to disturb that soil on the Fell Center.
Trustee Terry, still you have the floor.
So I guess because I'm aware that I know they're looking to move things underground due to all the electrical outages and all the issues that a lot of these counties around us are having. And I mean major outages for like days, sometimes weeks. So I guess from a long standpoint, is it more beneficial still to go overhead or explore going underground?
This goes back many years, but that site has had, basically, it's on top of a swamp. There's 8 feet of soil, 2 feet of marl, and 30 feet of water. Basically, the building is built on, each one of those pylons has a 40-foot pole underneath it. That's how it's structurally sound. The ground around there, as you notice, we constantly put in millings. So there's issues with the soil. It's not conducive long-term to put electrical infrastructure underground. To make a long story short, I know that Bill has had a lot of conversations with DTE. I don't want to short circuit some of the vetting that he's done, but I know that me and him and our environmentalist, Arch and ABF Environmental, we have about 15 wells out there that monitor the groundwater constantly. And Bill has taken all of that into consideration along with the DTE planning people. So it has been thought out, but you raise a very valid point.
Okay.
Okay, Vice President.
And to add to that, thank you, sir. As you know, Mr. Terry, we're looking at changing our whole fleet over to electric. Our goal is to have a fleet of electric buses. I mean, it's a goal.
Okay. What you getting upset with me
I
for?
will tell you why, that look you give me. But the goal is, and so DTE has been working very closely with the district, and it also plans to ensure that the grid is set for us to have that amount of buses with electrical outlets. So this is why that's important to do too, because of what we can't do. So DTE is very familiar with what we're doing, and they're very willing to, they've been working with us and they will continue. That's allowing us also to, at some point in time, because of turning over the electrical buses, we're looking at various discounts in certain areas, but that's their goal. And that's what they talked about at one of the conferences I went to.
Okay, hold on one second. Hold on one second. Just hold that. Just hold that right there. I know what you're about to say. Hold on. Go ahead.
I guess one of the concerns Trustee Terry probably would have is how much it's going to cost us.
I'm not worried about the cost. You just get money back.
Okay, so that's about it.
He hitting around to it.
Right.
But I was under the impression this was going underground, and when I looked at the schematic, so I don't have the schematic here in front of me, but I thought it was going underground.
And so from the schematic, it says underground.
Yeah, but we might want to table. I'm a little concerned about it going.
Yeah, we're going to
underground
table
for
it.
liability.
No, we're going to table it. Like
Mhm.
I'm sorry if I didn't I didn't say that, did I? Yeah, we're going to recommend to table, but when we get to that point, any other questions around the easement of the fail-safe center? Okay. Ooh, never a dull moment. Approval of the controller position. Mr. Seeger, you just.
That's Ms. Kellum.
Oh, Ms. Kellum. Okay. General counsel. / human resource. Okay. I was like, you and Mr. P just got it going on today, huh? I'm like, okay. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So I am excited about this recommendation because this person went to Pontiac schools up to 6th grade and moved away and has family in the area. And he wants to move back towards his support system. He lives 2 hours away now, and he wants to move back to the Pontiac area and be closer to his family. So the recommendation for hire controller, Christopher Ewald. The background rationale reads, the proposed 23-24 contract will secure Christopher Ewald's contract and shall be at the annual rate of $112,700.09 prorated by number of days worked in the 23-24 school year. If the operating tax levy for a given fiscal year increases greater than 3% from the previous fiscal year tax levy, the salary schedule increase shall equal 50% of the percentage increase above 3%. For example, if the tax levy increases 6%, then the wage scale shall increase 1.5%, which is 6% minus 3% times 50%. The salary schedule increase shall not exceed 5% in any given year. The funding source is general fund. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Education approve the contract of Christopher Ewald for December 18, 2023 through June 30, 2024. Mr. Ewald is in the audience and his resume is attached.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
It's pretty good.
Okay. I have one question. Mr. You said Ewald? Ewald, how you doing this evening, sir? If you can say, man, I'm excited. Anytime we get to add this kind of position. Just a quick question. So you're 2 hours away right now?
Yes, currently I am located in Charlotte, so it's 20 miles south of Lansing. And yes, it roughly takes a little over 2 hours to get back this way where my family's at. So,
and you're around the Pontiac area because I saw Waterford in your resume and things of that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much.
What Pontiac schools did you go to?
I went to Longfellow Elementary when it was open. I went to Madison Junior High, and I was a freshman at Pontiac Northern before I converted to Pontiac High School.
Okay.
It's always good to see people come back to the district that started off here to come back to help us out, especially in the capacity which you will be working in. And thank you for even considering to come back.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other questions or concerns? Okay. All right. I need to amend the agenda to add the resolution for a prospective contracted employee. I'm going to put it under human resources because we did not do it in the beginning. And so I need a motion on the floor to amend the agenda to add resolution for prospective contract employee under human resources as discussion item D and action item D. So moved by trustee Gross, supported by trustee Bowman. Questions, comments, concerns to that amendment? Hearing none. Roll call.
VP Gross.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Treasurer Terry.
Yes.
Trustee Bowman.
Yes.
Trustee Kraft.
Yes.
Trustee Davis Smith. And President Garrett.
Yes.
7-0.
Thank you. Now I need a motion on the floor to approve the amended agenda.
Support.
So moved by trustee Davis Smith, supported by trustee Gross. Question, comments, or concerns? Hearing none. Roll call.
Treasurer Terry.
Yes.
Trustee Bowman.
Yes.
Trustee Kraft.
Yes.
Trustee Davis Smith. President Garrett.
Yes.
VP Gross.
Yes.
And I'm voting yes.
All right. Thank you. Mrs. Kellum, can you, do you have the resolution for the prospective contract employee of the Bear?
You have my
Oh, I have your
original.
copy.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. You passed, I'm sorry. You have the floor, ma'am.
Yes, sir. So Attorney Seekers, you want me to read the bear? Okay. Resolution for prospective contracted employee, background rationale reads prospective
Bless you.
contracted employee 6351, last four digits of the contract employee's phone number. Has criminal convictions that may bar him from serving as a contracted employee for the Pontiac School District. In order to provide services to the district, the superintendent and the Board of Education need to approve the employee's relationship with the Pontiac School District in writing pursuant to MCL 380.1230 and Board Policy 8142. The superintendent has recommended in writing that contracted employee 6351 be permitted to provide services to the district. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education resolve to allow prospective contracted employee 6351 to provide services to the Pontiac School District. The resolution is attached. You want me to read the resolution?
No,
as
you
well?
have to, no, fine. Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns? Okay. All All right, thank you. We're going to move down to action items. Approval of making choices and facing consequences program. Need a resolution, please. Need a motion, I'm sorry.
So moved.
So moved by trustee
Support.
Bowman,
Go ahead.
supported by trustee Terry. Questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Bowman,
Yes.
trustee Kraft,
Yes.
trustee Davis Smith, President Garrett,
Yes.
VP Gross.
Yes.
I'm voting yes, and treasurer Terry.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
All right, thank you. Need a motion on the floor to table to the next regular board meeting, the easement of the Fail-Safe Center for DTE.
So move. Support.
Moved by trustee David Smith, supported by trustee Gross. Questions, comments, concerns to tabling the easement at the Fail-Safe Center for DTE. Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Kraft,
Yes.
trustee Davis Smith, President Garrett,
Yes.
VP Gross.
Yes.
I'm voting yes, treasurer Terry,
Yes.
and trustee Bowman.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
All right, thank you. Need approval of the controller position. Need a motion, please.
So moved.
So moved by trustee Gross, supported by trustee David Smith. Questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Davis Smith, President Garrett,
Yes.
VP Gross.
Yes.
I'm voting yes, treasurer Terry,
Yes.
trustee Bowman,
Yes.
and trustee Kraft.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Welcome to Phoenix Nation, sir, and we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem, sir. Need a motion on the floor to approve the bear for, that was the title. Prospective employee, for prospective employee. Need a
So
motion on the floor?
moved.
Moved by trustee Gross, supported by trustee David Smith. Questions, comments, or concerns? Okay. Hearing none, roll call.
President Garrett,
Yes.
VP Gross.
Yes.
I'm voting yes, treasurer Terry,
Yes.
trustee Bowman,
Yes.
trustee Kraft,
Yes.
and trustee Davis Smith. Passes 7-0.
All right, thank you. Going to move down to communications, petitions, and delegations. Mr. Vice President.
Mr. President, thank you. We have one petition tonight,
Okay.
Ms. Judith A. Cox. She can come to the podium. Thank you. Your request to address the Pontiac Board of Education for 3 minutes is granted with your commitment that all comments will be delivered with courtesy and civility. Failure to do so will result in forfeiture of your allotted time. Welcome to our meeting, Ms. Cox, who is here
Thank
to
you.
talk about student behavior
Thank
support.
you. And I am a Pontiac individual, but my grandmother was a school teacher in a one-room schoolhouse in Pontiac. So, yeah, both sides of my family, mother and father, are Pontiac raised, and Pontiac housing being done by my father. But I'm here to tell you a story of a wonderful child. It was a child in Harrington that you remember last year, and he attacked a staff member at the end of the school year. I'm from the Mindfulness Institute of Michigan. Why I call him a wonderful child is because he had an opportunity that he wasn't supposed to have, right? He showed up in an SAE last day, Society of Automotive Engineers, and it was with fourth graders. He was in that class up until his disturbance. His consequence was to be out of school. And without anyone knowing that we're doing this with it was Margaret Kelly from Oakland Schools. And many of you know Carlton Jones, he was there. And this was the last day of an SAE program, AWIM. And he just had to be there. No one knew that he was there, and one of my team members was there. And when he came in, he was upset that he was being asked to be in this group instead of that group. Short story is he was exited from the classroom. One of my team member that was there as a volunteer, she wasn't there as a social worker, I am a psychotherapist, she wasn't there as a behavior specialist. She just walked out of the room with him, not knowing, no one knew who this child was. Worked with him with a research-based best practice in mindfulness to self-regulate. He came back in that classroom and he said, "I'm sorry. We never train people to say I'm sorry. That's social emotional intelligence." In that moment, he came back and he knew, "I'm sorry." And then he said, "I'll be in that group." So one was social emotional intelligence, the other one was emotional intelligence, and the other social intelligence, because he accepted the authority appropriate in that moment, and he accepted that group. Here's the best part of the story. He was fully engaged in that SAE project. Carlton Jones can tell you that. So that child who went from 0 to 10 and attacked could also be a child to make a new choice, when he was taught a best practice. And that's the work that I'd like to come in. And we're being invited many times to come in. Right now, we're being invited paid to come into the school for ninth graders with George Washington School, George Washington University and Chicago University has a grant with 40 other schools across the nation for ninth graders. Now, the ninth grade SSN have already said to us, we want you here, giving the gear up with Teresa Rogers. So I'd love to be talking to someone about maybe coming in. And that grant's a grant that the money is already funded. And then there's one other one, I'm talking fast, a lifelong learning with Heart Math that I do a lot of work with, has worked with educators in the trenches who are working with children who need the healing, the ACEs, right? They need the healing and they're way behind and they're having successes. So these practices are much like what was brought to that young child, who in one moment was attacking and in another moment had resilience in the moment to come and say, I'm sorry, and be fully engaged.
Okay.
So we really like working with the teachers.
Okay. Thank you for your comments, Ms. Cox. Appreciate you. Going to move down to board comments and announcements. Trustee Kraft, good evening, sir.
How did I know I was first?
Oh, man. You
gave me that look.
I saw the look in my eyes.
But, I would like to start off. I'm going to be brief tonight. But I would like to start off and wish everyone happy holidays, because I believe this is our last meeting before the new year. And I'll be having a birthday in between this and stuff. No parties, because I reached the plateau last year. And this ain't monumental. We hung out, didn't we, Gross? So, yeah, so this year I will be chilling. But like I said, I would like for everyone to have a wonderful holiday and be safe. And I'll see you on the other side of the year.
Awesome. Trustee Bowman.
Good evening. I hope
Good evening, ma'am.
everyone has a wonderful holiday and a happy new year. And what else? Happy birthday to Trustee Kraft, Superintendent, myself for December. Trustee Gross, is it? Yes. You got birthday coming?
Of the year, baby.
All right.
You all will be right here to celebrate with me.
Well, it's a pleasure to continue to serve my community, and I'm glad to be a part of Pontiac School District, Phoenix Nation, as we continue to rise. So again, I hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday, happy new year, happy birthdays, and it's been great this year. See you next year.
All right. Awesome. Trustee David Smith. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say this was a great short meeting again. And even though this was the third one today, but I would like to wish everyone a happy holiday, and please be safe. And that's it. Thanks, students, staff, administration, board members. You guys, this has been a great year, a long, hard working year this year for us, but enjoy your vacation. Oh, and thanks for our swag. I really appreciate everything you guys give us.
Thank you, ma'am. Treasurer, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good.
All right. We didn't meet this $2 million quota, but we good. We good.
We good. I don't think we spent too much money today.
We ain't going over it either. You can guarantee
Good
that.
evening,
Joe.
everybody.
And he got himself in control. I don't know what we gonna do now. Should have passed that budget before we said approval, right? We in trouble.
We're good. Once again, thank you for the reports presented this evening. I appreciate that. Congratulations on our new hire. Thank you for joining the team. Looking forward to working with you as well. Thank you, everyone, administration, staff. It's been an interesting year. We've had our ups and downs, but we didn't push through, and I think we're still on the right path to continue to push Pontiac forward. For those having birthdays, happy birthdays. And then I guess happy holidays to everyone for the holidays that are coming up. Be safe out there. Try not to party too hard. And then happy New Year to everyone as well, the students as well. So hopefully I can catch a game or something before you guys get out this year. But I think this is the last week if I'm correct. And then they're out for the break. So be safe out there as well with the students. And then I think that's it. So thank you, everybody. And until next year.
Thank you. Trustee Kraft, Ref Kraft said it's Avondale, it's a game tomorrow.
Everybody come out tomorrow if you have any time to Avondale. That's our new rival. Our boys are 4-1 right now, and we got young babies out there, and they playing. They playing good ball now, and they need your support. The game is at Avondale. 4 o'clock is the freshman game. 5:30 is the JV game, and the varsity game starts at 7. I won't be there. I got to go to Milford to ref.
Okay. All right. Treasurer. All right. Are you done, sir? Okay. Madam Secretary,
Yes.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Y'all been working today.
Yes. A good meeting. Congratulations again to Mr. Ewald. Thank you for joining Pontiac School District. Just again, happy holidays to the entire staff of Pontiac School District. Wishing everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and looking forward to working together again in 2024.
Awesome. Mr. Vice President.
Thank you, sir.
How you doing?
Fantastic.
You all right?
I am. I'm not going to be as short, but I promised some friends I'll get them out early. No, I just wanted to, you could tell the friends. I just want to say I had a great time, myself and Trustee Bowman. Listen, if you guys ever have the opportunity, please next year attend the senior pinning. And what made it so exciting, Mr. President, and I did recognize the board members. I know you guys listen, this president got us working and we're at 30,000 different events. But let me tell you, I was so excited because every senior who was pinned, their parents were there. Not one student parent. That's what, come on. Because we talk about parental participation, and then when we get it, we don't say too much. But I want to say, because Trustee Bowman and I were ready to be the surrogate parents to help pin, but I was running around looking for kids to pin, but all the mamas and daddies were there. And you talking about a great time. What a wonderful ceremony. And I don't think we could have had it in the auditorium with so many. And that's a good sign on what our graduation is going to look like. So many kids we had. So very exciting. Had the opportunity to attend a concert last night because it was at my church. But it was led by our own Michelle Johnson. And she invited all of us to be there. So I knew that I couldn't miss it, although it was excellent. And I saw a lot of the staff and some administrators there, and also saw Linda from Kensington Church, who's one of our partners. And it was wonderful and had an exciting time to hear some good holiday music. I want everybody to enjoy themselves. Listen, and I'm talking to some people, especially those who are in this room. This is a time to relax, reflect, and enjoy. So the school buildings will be locked. You can't come in. Do not take a laptop home. Enjoy this holiday and get refreshed. See, they're looking at me. They know who I'm talking to. They know exactly who I'm talking to. And let's come back. Start this year off. It's been fun. We've been having a great time. And an old guy from my church who I loved for years, we called him Pops. And he used to tell me, son, keep living. Life gets gooder and gooder. So let's get gooder and gooder, folks. Thank you. And we look forward to seeing you next year. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Thank you. First of all, administration, thank you for the gift. We can always, administration, superintendent, I thank y'all for that, because we can always take swag, right? Like as much as is we have it, we can always take swag, and we appreciate that. One of the things I want you to remind yourself of this holiday season is spend time with the ones that's here. A special blessing. I'm asking for one of my partners, Nick Dawson, who lost his battle to cancer, left a wife and a daughter behind, and he was a great deputy. He was an awesome man of God, and he was just an awesome person. And we don't know the time, we don't know the day, but I'm going to ask that all of you here take time and reflect over this holiday season and create a work-life balance. I know if I can do it, I know everybody else in this room can do it. Now, I just happen to just love what I do, and I'm going to study over this break because this semester, I'm so looking forward to 2024. We had an awesome communications meeting today. The branding guide is out. We have some wonderful activities fast approaching. And it's just time we start to really drill down and telling who we are, and really not focusing on the ones that the naysayers, right? We know what we're doing, and we have a formula, and we want to continue to share that formula, and we want to continue to work throughout, not just here, but just through the state as well. And so, thank the trustees. I did push hard this week. I did, in and off the field, and you guys showed up like you always do. And I appreciate you for allowing me the space to lead and allowing me the space to navigate some of these wonderful waters in chartered and uncharted territories. Welcome, sir. Hopefully you are just as amused about and thrilled to be here. We are a serious board, but we have a good time because we are in the business of educating kids. And so you're going to find us to be a little challenging at times if you're presenting or something, and we may have, let's just say, a conversation or just a question or something like that. Like, we're real people. We take our job serious, but we're real people. And so, with that being said, Trustee Kraft is going to challenge you, in some spaces, and that's just what it is, right? We're the LA Lakers, and some of our teammates, we just like them to show up to the game, and he's going to do just that, and he's going to give me 20 and 10 every night, and that's all we ask. For those who deal with our students and our staff on a regular basis, please continue to take care of yourselves. I cannot emphasize that enough. And so, with that being said, need a motion on the floor to adjourn.
So moved. Support.
So moved by Trustee Bowman, supported by
That's
Trustee David Smith.
Queen's ever heard that motion.
Oh, it's cool. Listen, man, it's cool, man.
You're ready to rock and roll, baby.
I mean, if you in the district 7 hours out there,
Yeah,
3 hours,
you're right. They're ready to go home.
they're ready to go.
Yeah.
All right.
Roll call.
Roll call. Okay, roll call.
VP Gross.
Yes.
I'm
Talk-
voting
see what I'm talking
yes.
about? See, you
Treasurer
see?
Terry.
Yes.
Trustee Bowman.
Yes.
Trustee Kraft.
Yes.
Trustee David Smith.
Yes.
And President Garrett.
All right, no. Those who are at home, thank you so much for tuning in. The motion has passed 6-1. We are adjourned at 7:03. Do not forget to like and share and subscribe. Go back and review all of the meetings prior to this one. We had an amazing year, but it was not an amazing year without you. So again, push that follow and like button, that little bell, let it ring, so you will know exactly what's going on, so you can follow everything that's going on in the district. We love you. There's nothing you can do about it. Trust the process, and good night.